Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the last episode of Why We Vote for 2025.
It's the last show of the year. And happy Boxing Day, whatever that is, to all.
Happy, is it Kwanzaa? I see all the liberals out there on X. They're like, Happy Kwanzaa. And I'm like, that was a Marxist holiday created in 1966 by a pedophile and a rapist.
To all who celebrate. So, you know.
Can we get in the chat? Just if there's one person in there that celebrates Kwanzaa, can you shoot me a DM on X so I can have you call into the show and explain to us what the heck Kwanzaa is?
Yeah. How does it work?
I don't know. Do we get presents?
Wait. Shameless plug. Shameless plug. I wrote my column. I write a column for a newspaper that's still in print. It's like the thing that I do that I'm most proud of because it's a paper newspaper. And my column this month is about Tina Peters spending her second month in prison. It's up on my Substack and GlendaleCherryCreekChronicle.com. It's GlendaleCherryCreek.com is the newspaper, but also up on Colorado Free Press. Folks, just check it out.
Oh, so you supplement the black and white and red all over with ones and zeros and on the internet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I want people to see it. But little known fact, my first job out of college, out of journalism school in college, which was right after 9/11, so there were no jobs. I was writing really stupid articles for newspapers on Long Island, Montauk Sun and Dan's papers, about like where to get the best ice cream and who has the best, engagement rings for the people that are buying engagement rings in the Hamptons. But yeah, so and then I stopped doing that and went into business and, did that forever. Now I'm doing journalism again. And I just love that it's in print because I have all the newspapers.
You were Kate Hudson's character in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yeah. Her article is way more exciting than where to get the best, $8 ice cream cone.
That was like
$8 ice cream cone in $2001.
That was low key one of my favorite movies when I was in like my high school, early 20s age, and I couldn't say it because like everybody would make fun of me. Yeah, but the funny thing is whenever it would come up, I'd be like, "Oh, I love that movie," and the guys I hang out with would be like, "Yeah, that's a phenomenal movie," and I'm like, "Okay,
why can't we talk about this, guys? Come on!"
Oh, I had such a crush on Kate Hudson. Such a crush on Kate Hudson.
Kate Hudson is gorgeous.
Yeah, she's a classic. All right, guys, welcome to the show. We're going to get into our sponsors, and then we're kind of going to do a review show. I mean, there is a lot going on right now with the algorithm and, a lot of rehashed information that, we have a very educated audience, so you guys are all well aware of almost every single thing.
Breaking, President Trump removed Chris Krebs' security clearance.
Yeah, I saw that.
In April.
No, you know who's the worst at this is Real AF Roberts or whatever.
Yeah, Robert. Yeah, that Real Rob guy. Yeah.
Yeah, like he retweets my stuff all the time. He won't follow me, but he reposts my stuff all the time. And like today, I think I saw Mark Cook commented on a testimony that was given in the Giuliani hearing in Maricopa County from Jan Bryant. And I'm like, oh, I've only posted and talked about that testimony probably like 100 times in the last 4 years. Yeah. But yeah, keep putting breaking. Runbeck was shipping ballots to the MetTech for 10 days after the election. That's breaking news, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, and it's, it's good, right? It's good that the stories are going around again, but it can also, I think, be harmful when people are like, oh my gosh, like, because we saw a lot of this with the Chris Krebs thing. They're like prominent people who know better tweeting like, this is amazing, let's go. It's like, guys, what we actually should be doing is saying, hey, in that same executive order, President Trump ordered an investigation of Chris Krebs. Where are we at on that? Where's the output of the investigation? Is there news happening with Chris Krebs because there should be. He should be in prison.
Yep. All right. So let's get into the show. But I just want to ask you guys, do you guys know that you have been sold a lie? That food should be cheap, that grocery store chicken and beef are fine. They're not. At Rattlesnake Meats, they raise protein the right way, pasture-raised, 21-day aged beef and premium pasture-raised chicken with no subsidies, no shortcuts. It's not cheap to produce, and it shouldn't be cheap to eat. Bite back. Think differently about your protein. Visit rattlesnakemeats.com/Badlands and use promo code Badlands and get an order sent Monday or Tuesday. Ships to all lower 48 states. Shipping is included. And I can testify that their meats are fan-frickin-tastic. Absolutely love Rattlesnake Meats. So check them out. rattlesnakesmeats.com/Badlands, promo code Badlands for $10 off your order, and it'll ship out Monday or Tuesday.
I like how they start that with, food, like you've been sold a lie that food should be cheap, because this is the lie that Americans have been sold about everything, right? Is that you need cheaper stuff, not better quality stuff. And we see that in products, and we see it in, our food, we see it in the construction of our homes, and this disposable life. And part of America First and bringing manufacturing back home and bringing industry back home, it doesn't mean that we're going to produce cheap Chinese crap here. At least I hope it doesn't. That's not what I voted for. That's not the America I want to build. I want to, if we have less stuff, maybe more expensive items, but fewer of them, and they're really well made, and they last, and they perform, and it's a mind shift. And people pay more attention to the quality of gas they put in their car than the quality of meat they're putting in their body. That's kind of messed up.
Yeah, 100% right on that. You're spot on that. Yeah, and you can definitely taste the difference. So thank you to Rattlesnake Meats, and welcome back. Welcome back, Rattlesnake. Ash is going to tell you a little bit about Unicity.
You deserve more than sluggish mornings and blood sugar spikes. Discover the simple daily system that helped so many regain health without dieting or exercise routines. 2 easy-to-take daily drinks. A brain-boosting, appetite-suppressing morning blend that ushers in energy and clarity. A hearty, fiber-packed pre-meal drink that stabilizes blood sugar, aids digestion, and fights cravings. It's a gentle, science-backed path to improved metabolism, renewed vitality, and lasting weight control. Feeling better starts with this simple 2-step daily protocol.
If you're feeling sluggish and can't lose weight, or you're just tired of the hold Big Pharma has on you, head over to badlandshealth.com and get started today. You've got nothing to lose with their 90-day money-back guarantee. That's badlandshealth.com.
All right.
Really messed up. And I thought the read was at the beginning.
That's okay. That's a confusing one. Anyways, so how was your Christmas?
It was really good.
Did you guys get
good? No, it was like 70.
It was 71 here. We had dinner outside. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's supposed to snow on Sunday, but then it's going to go back up into the 60s like the next day. It's weird. Climate change, man.
Yeah.
Apparently they turn off the machines, and it's warm in Colorado at Christmas.
That's crazy. Well, you guys are a lot lower than you think. It's unless you're up in the mountains. You're lower closer to the equator than you think. You guys are only the second state up from the southern border, right? Second state up.
Yes, but we're a mile higher. Speaking of, did you get a Christmas present from Grow Wizard?
No.
Oh,
not that I know of. Damn, Grow Wizard. What's up, buddy? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we had a good Christmas. It was very stressful. We had 3 Christmases to go to, so that's always fun. But this was the first year. So last year for our anniversary, Christy and I decided that instead of buying each other gifts, we were going to settle on something for both of us, and we ended up getting like a wine refrigerator, like a little wine mini fridge. And so this year, we came up with the same idea, and we got ourselves a new bed, because we needed like our frame and the mattress itself were bad. So we're buying one of those like beds that has like the upright position and all the Tempur-Pedic stuff and all that. And so that was
the warranty, because those motor things break.
Oh, good insider baseball right there.
Yeah.
Good insider baseball.
I have one of those beds, but it only lays flat.
Oh, I mean, if it only lays flat, I'm fine. If it gets stuck like in the upright position, we got a problem.
Yeah, so it did when the it's like a fuse or something popped out, but we tried back to where we bought it, back to the manufacturer, everything. It's just we didn't get the appropriate coverage on the bed we bought, so we ended up. But we were able to like lift it up and kind of jigger it and get it flat, and then it stays flat. And it sounds like a terrible bed, I'm sure, but it has a MyPillow mattress topper on it. So
there you go.
Best bed around.
T Skillet says, bad idea. You have to give your wife a gift. I still gave her like some small gifts. I got her a kitchen set, a cooking set, like pots and pans and all that, because she needed new pots and pans. And her mom bought her that too. I gave it to her before I did. So, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, Christy didn't ask for this. I only got that for her because I know that's something that she needs. So I got her that. I got her like a little handheld massaging thing and a thing that to put your feet in, like massages your feet and warm water and all that stuff. So
pedicure spa thing,
kind of similar to that. So she's still got some good stuff, but yeah, the bed thing is our big present. So all right, let's actually get into some election stories out here, and we do have to talk about this before we get into kind of the year in review. And this is a big story out of Georgia, something we've been waiting for a long time. I wrote this article on, I think, Christmas Eve. Yeah, Christmas Eve. Breaking: judge finally allows access to Fulton County 2020 physical ballots and related documents. And I start out here by stating the obvious. It's been 1,071 days at the time of writing this, so 1,073 days now, since the Georgia Supreme Court remanded the voterga.org lawsuit back to the lower courts after determining that Garland Favorito's voter integrity group did, in fact, have standing. And you could see that was the article right here, the President Trump truth right there, when December 22nd, 2022, when he retruthed my article on that story. Twice he did. He retruthed it. So that was pretty cool. Now, there is some stipulation. We can talk because I know you've read the article and I know you know the story. And there are some stipulations, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how this all comes about. For first and foremost, Fulton County on January 7th has to submit a proposal on how much this is going to cost for them to process. And so the agreement, I should rewind a little bit here. The agreement is for the state election board, the Georgia State Election Board, to investigate and look at these ballots and other things too. I think the ballot stubs, the envelope stubs, and the signatures are also going to be included in this, I think. So Fulton County has to put together a proposal on how much it's going to cost. They estimate it's going to be about $400,000.
It's retarded.
Yes, it is utterly retarded.
Sounds like money laundering.
It does. It sounds like they're getting paid before they find out that they are going to prison.
It sounds like they're getting paid to finally comply with a requirement that they've obstructed for years. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, and you know, I bring up the Garland Favorito in the beginning of my story just because I want to show people that this has been on the front of mind for 4 years, it's going back to 2020, and it's been widely ignored by everybody. And I was actually very surprised and slightly concerned that it was Judge Robert McBurney that actually decided that they have to hand this stuff over. First, he had quashed a subpoena, or excuse me, he had dismissed a motion to quash the subpoena from Fulton County to the state election board. And there's two subpoenas. There's one for the ballots, and then there's one for the ballots and all the other stuff that goes along with it. And so I believe that they're going to get all of the stuff with this decision. But, part of the 400,000, I believe the claim, we don't know for sure yet, but I believe the claim is going to be that they have to scan all of the envelopes and all the ballots and all this stuff so that they have, digital copies to give them as well as the physical, because they better get the physical.
Why don't they have that already?
Well, we all know that the $2 million Blue Crest sorters that they were supposed to have used in the 2020 election to validate signatures, verify signatures, and to make images of these documents, those machines did not work. And so they didn't do it. At least that's what Mark Wingate, former Fulton County Board of Registration and Elections member, testified in the Jeff Clark disbarment hearing. So now they have to do it. Apparently,
wasn't it also in the Fulton County RICO case that they admitted that they didn't use the Blue Cross machines?
Kind of in the Fulton County RICO case with Harrison Floyd, they admitted that the machines weren't working and that they didn't use the machines. And then they later go on to admit that it's going to take them something like 57,000 hours to validate the ballots because they have to go through 2 databases of signatures as exemplars for the signature verification. And so, go ahead.
That request was for them to produce the records of signature verification, correct? And
Correct.
we, at the time, when we covered that, we said, wait a second, why is it that they're charging or they're saying it's going to take them hours wise, which every hour has $1 attached to it, right? Every hour has dollars attached to it. Why is it going to take them longer than ostensibly it would have taken to do signature verification the first time? And their estimate on time was, I think we estimated longer than the time they would have had to do it if they had done it in the election. It's an admission of guilt. It's an admission of guilt that they're talking about. Like that's what this is. And yet they're going to get paid $400,000 to finally comply. What is that?
Yeah, to me, again, it's absolutely insane. And, I've been talking with some people that are, intimately involved in all of this. And, I've raised that same question with them. Why would they pay any money for them to manually do something that they spent taxpayer dollars to make an automated system or to buy an automated system that should be able to do this in a couple hours, not, 57,000 hours? But again, I think they're just, it's kind of like the desperation, right? This is their last ditch effort to stop them. Oh, we're going to charge the state election board $400,000 for them to be able to do their job with something that they've had to spend countless millions already. The other big question here, and I would like to see somebody press this in Fulton County. The Fulton County Board of Registrations and Elections, or excuse me, I shouldn't say them. The chairman of the Fulton County Board, chairwoman of the Fulton County Board of Registrations and Elections, went out and hired private legal counsel to sue the state election board, to fight against the election board, and all of this without a vote from the state, from the Board of Registration and Elections. Like, when you do something like that, you're supposed to have a vote, right? Are we going to hire outside counsel? Are we going to use our own internal counsel? What are we going to do? And it just so happens the outside counsel is the former law firm that Charlene McGowan, the general counsel to the Secretary of State, worked for. But that's something you have to take a vote on. You can't, unilaterally decide that we as a board are going to spend taxpayer dollars on this. And, I don't know what the final receipts are on that, but the taxpayer should not be on the hook for that. And so I would like to see something come about from that action right there.
It's so interesting to me when you consider like the Georgia stories compared to the Colorado stories. In Colorado, the state is the authority upholding the system, and the county was the one with questions, right? Mesa County, Tina Peters. County was the one with questions, and the election cabal is on the side of the state. In Georgia, the county is the authority attempting to uphold the system, and the state is the one asking questions, and the election cabal is on the side of the county. It's not a question of authorities then. It's not a question of, consistent principles about the authorities over elections when the position of the elections industry shifts state to state, depending on which entity, which level of government is on their side.
Speaking of mirroring Colorado, I want to just walk you through a quick little sequence of events that took place on X earlier today. Garrett Archer, who is the talking head propaganda piece for the Mockingbird media and the establishment election in Arizona, but he chimes in everywhere. And of course, you know, the people are going full bore right now on Georgia. And he tweeted this earlier, truth this, in response to President Trump truthing our very own Clay Parikh, a video of him in testifying in Georgia. We'll get to that video. But real quick, Garrett Archer puts out, this is the one where everyone pretended election machines not connected to the internet were hacked by the company that leased them out in a country with an extradition treaty with the U.S. And I responded to that. I tagged Kathy Latham, who we just had on a couple days ago.
A
couple weeks ago. Were the Dominion machines in Coffee County accessed remotely by Dominion officials? Was the Democrat observer in attendance of the runoff count in agreement with that assessment? And let me go back here. And here was her response. When we were observing the Dominion tech during the runoff, all in observance believed that the ICC was accessed remotely. I was told by a mutual friend that they had proof of the remote access. A mutual friend. That's interesting. I'm not sure who that is. But then to tie it into Colorado, she said this. And yes, at the time, the Democrat in attendance agreed with the remote access, and it's memorialized in her affidavit. However, I've been told that a former Colorado resident who is now the bane of existence to Georgia and North Carolina convinced her otherwise.
Who's that?
I have no idea. Kathy, if you happen to be listening, DM me and let me know.
Marilyn Marks?
Oh, well, she was Colorado.
She fought election lawsuits here. So
that's exactly who it was. It was Marilyn Marks, because it was. That's who I think it was. I can't say that's exactly who it was, but that's a great point, because she was she was very involved in Coffee County with the Curling v. Raffensperger case, and tried to set up Coffee County as Trump stealing the election because, I don't know, whatever that nonsense was.
I'm just looking for that show number that we did with Marilyn Marks so I can tell people where to go if they want to see it.
That was a good show.
It was a good show.
Oh, Clay's in the chat. He wants to see if we mentioned that President Trump truthed his video. That's what it is. Don't worry.
Episode 114. Episode 114 of Why We Vote. We had Marilyn Marks on the show. It's a good show.
I've got you somewhere in here, Clay. Don't worry. Oh, here it is. Here is President Donald J. Trump reposting. First, he posted the video with Clay, and we'll play that here in a second. And then he reposted Julie Donut saying, Dominion Serbia voting machines, they do not get away with overthrowing the United States government. And let's go ahead and play this clip here of Clay Parikh, who I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Clay, but I think I was the first person to platform him. Just like Ash. Look at that. I'm a first for so many. All right.
The first person to platform me.
I remember the first time I met Clay was at the
symposium. Can all blame Brian.
Well, the first time I had met Clay was at the symposium, and I had just gotten done, a couple weeks before that, writing an article about his testimony in Mike Lindell's Ninth Circuit. This is the penetration testing. In fact, I rehashed that on Gateway Pundit a few days ago when I wrote about the National Defense Authorization Act and the penetration section that they got slid through that bill. And I rehashed that Ninth Circuit testimony from Clay, or it was from the case before, but it was in the Ninth Circuit. And so when I met him at the symposium, I was like, oh wow, I know who this guy is. I want to interview this guy. And I got over there and he already knew who I was. So I was like, this is really cool. And we've been good friends ever since.
Oh, I love that. My favorite story of you and Clay was when you went and trolled Jack Cobb.
Oh,
that was a fun one. And Clay, who is in the chat, if you are not watching Book Club on Tuesdays, you should catch up. We're doing the Ralph Pizzullo Stolen Elections book, and your name comes up a lot. Just so you know, we talk about you on Tuesdays a good bit now.
Yes, Clay, you were very good for your first time, especially for an enlisted Marine from the backwoods of Alabama. You were very good. No, Clay had invited me up to speak at an event in Alabama. And I think it was with Colonel McGregor was there, Professor Clements was there, Mel K was there. It was what's the guy, the COVID coffee guy, coffee and COVID or whatever. What's his name? I can't
Yeah.
remember, but he spoke there as well. And after the event, Clay took me all around Huntsville, and we went by the Pro V&V because I wanted to see what it looked like. And so we're like, you know what? Let's just go and take a selfie in front of the building. And so me and Clay go up and we take a selfie together in front of the Pro V&V building. And Jack Cobb literally comes running out trying to film Clay's license plate as we're driving away. And we're just like, I mean, we didn't break the law or anything. We're just taking a selfie.
Yeah.
You know, we want to
Public parking lot.
We're big fans. All right. So here's the testimony from Clay talking about, I guess, Serbia. I haven't even listened to this yet. This is my first time, although I've streamed the whole thing.
Remembering correctly, there were several states involved.
And which time period are you referring to?
This was 2020,
Before or after the election?
during the election.
He's got his drill instructor face on.
In your examination of any of these Dominion systems, have you seen any indication of non-election personnel remotely accessing a Dominion system?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
I too have reviewed a series of emails produced by Dominion in which they're discussing remoting into Gwinnett County, Georgia.
You also mentioned Dominion remotely connecting to election systems, but you don't have any evidence that occurred in Georgia, correct?
There was one county. I've seen a lot of Dominion emails. I've had to translate Dominion emails from Serbian to English to verify the technical questions I was being asked about them, to verify that it was translated
It's normal
properly.
stuff for American
So-
industry.
So it's your
Is Clay implying that he speaks Serb? Because I don't believe that for a second. And if he does, he's totally like a triple agent. And I've
Triple
grossly
agents come up a lot, Brian,
I've gr-
in the election integrity space. There are many triple agents.
I've grossly underestimated the gunny, if that's the case.
He
Here
says
I am
no.
thinking,
He says he doesn't.
okay, good.
And he had to
testimony that
have
there-
them translated.
Okay, fair. You're still on
It's
my
like
good
when
news,
it's
Clay.
like when I try to talk to my Instacart person that's shopping for my groceries, and I have to pull up the Google Translate to translate the Spanish because none of them speak English anymore. The only thing more terrifying is when the Uber driver, you have to use Google Translate with the Uber driver.
Dude, there's these like I think they're Ray-Ban knockoff AI glasses that like can translate up to like 200 different languages in real time. Like it hears it, and it's the
It
part
speaks
that goes,
to you.
yeah, like the part that goes over your ears.
Nice.
There's 2 microphones in there, so you can listen to music and all sorts of things, but you can also translate in real time. So yeah, it's pretty
Yeah, I
cool.
mean, it's not that surprising when you consider the advancements in technology and the fact that they can, like, they can do that with the translators, already. If you go to like the UN or whatever, right? They've all got their headphones and they're listening to the one thing in all of their own languages. They've had the analog ability to do that for a while. So AI compatible, with the advances in technology, it's not terribly surprising. That's cool though. Make
All right, so-
traveling a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, for sure. So back to Clay exposing the Serbian connection.
There is evidence of Dominion remotely accessing Georgia election equipment.
Yes, on the one county. It was included with stuff that I was researching and reading through, considering Colorado. Michigan was also involved, and there were other ones.
To your understanding, is Dominion able to remotely connect to these election systems?
Yes,
Are they able to do that without detection?
yes,
And are you aware of any instances in which that has occurred?
yes.
Can you identify those instances?
One would be the Denver, Colorado server was granted, or requested to grant Belgrade, only Belgrade. I did search. There is a Belgrade, Montana. Again, why would Montana need to connect into a Colorado file transfer server as part of the election system? And there are other components and things that were done in the background concerning the database and the configure of the database server that still do not have an engineering change order, because if somebody works in an operational environments for a lot of different things, what I will tell you is sometimes things break or you have a problem and you have to fix it. And you submit a change request, or in this case, an engineering change order that's retroactive, right? You want to go back and make sure that you record the process so that you have change management and integrity of the system. If you do not record changes, you lead yourself down a very bad road.
I wonder, is there any evidence that that was? No.
Well,
I was wondering if maybe that was my recording that President Trump used. Because remember, I shared this out many, many times.
yeah, I think I've only ever seen those clips in your threads and shared out of your threads. To Garrett Archer's point, though, right? This is the part where everybody agreed that there's no that machines that aren't connected to the internet, fucking retard, were hacked by the company. Blah blah blah. Clay Parikh is under oath. Garrett Archer,
Yes.
to my knowledge, is never fucking under oath.
Nope.
No matter what, like what he's out there, carrying the election cabal party line, never saying the things under oath. Clay's speaking under oath.
I will say this: the very last frame is an X post here, and it is linking to a Gateway Pundit article. And I was the only one that I know of that wrote about this hearing on Gateway Pundit, so that probably was from my clips.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me.
Another Trump truth here with my.
You
my
should go back,
opinion.
Brian, and look at the totality of your reporting on Georgia, and have AI analyze it for you.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah,
That's actually a
I
really
know.
good idea.
Most of my ideas are good ideas.
Yeah, unfortunately, I kind of have to agree with you on that. We got some more videos that this is related to the Fulton County article and why this is significant. President Trump also truthed this out.
I estimated that somewhere between 80 and 90% were going to Joe Biden. Throughout the day, it kept making me sicker and sicker every time I saw another Biden. And then I'm going through batches. 100% of the batches were Biden. I find that statistically impossible.
So that's one of the tweets. Rasmussen shared this post here. Georgia, more affidavits. Quote, many of the boxes of ballots had voted 100% for Biden and 0% for Trump. The ballots appeared perfectly filled out as if they had been pre-printed with the presidential candidates selected. They did not look like a person had filled this out at home. And then this was Rasmussen sharing Silvio Costa, who shared more of these sworn affidavits. So hopefully, fingers crossed, Ash, that the shenanigans in Fulton County have been, kept at bay while these ballots for 4 years have sat in a warehouse completely and totally secure.
Allegedly.
So
yeah, we'll see what happens. Before we started, Brian was like, we have to talk about Fulton County. And my response is, what do you think is going to happen? So let's say they say, okay, it's going to cost us $420,000. And the state election board is like, all right, we'll write you a check. Then what happens? Are they going to be able to produce all of the records that they say they have that they're required to produce? If those records contained smoking gun evidence of their crime, alleged crime, would they keep them? Or would you have some sort of, well, we don't know where those boxes are. It was, administrative error. Things get moved. We don't know what happened. There's a fire. Like something will happen, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a great point. So we do, for some of you guys might remember, but originally when these ballots were being stored, there was a Fulton County sheriff that was, kind of the sentry watching over them. Sentry. And at one point he had left and returned, and the alarm to the warehouse was going off and the door was wide open. And of course they said nothing was altered or nothing, happened in here at all whatsoever. Nothing happened. But yeah, the point Ash is making, I agree with that. And I think that if they know that this is going to be smoking gun evidence, they would rather deal with the repercussions of destruction of evidence rather than the repercussions of
Less
we
punishment.
committed treason against the United States. We're going to break down the whole system, because that validates the claims that we've been making, or at least it lends legitimacy and credibility to the claims we've been making in Arizona, in Michigan, in Wisconsin, in Pennsylvania, in Nevada, in North Carolina,
Yeah.
in all of the states, right? And that's the last thing they want, is, for the the kind of the maestros, the puppet masters that have been handling these folks. The last thing they want is for this to lead to the snowball of election fraud. And I think there's a possibility it could. So
It's basic math, man. Destroying evidence or negligence over evidence is a significantly less crime than the high treason of stealing an election. This is why here's how I think about this, right? Mesa County images, Elbert County images. The Mesa County images, according to the reports that were produced, tell a very specific story. The easiest way for the state to debunk, to put that matter to bed, is to take the Elbert County images and look at the code, look at what happened on those images. And does it confirm what we found in Mesa County, or does it dispute what we found in Mesa County? They didn't do that, though. They didn't tell us anything about the Elbert County. They freaked all the way out when they found out they existed. They had a court tell them they had to be turned over. They were turned over. Get all the copies. Make sure it's all the copies. They have all the copies. Yep, all the copies. And then they just disappeared from the story entirely, and we never heard about them again. Now they're under protection order, and if they're ordered to be produced, if they didn't, support the Mesa County assertions, then it's my strong position they would have come out and shown us that.
I agree.
But they didn't do that. Yeah.
If any of this stuff was, they wouldn't have fought for 4 years and spent millions of taxpayer dollars fighting against the disclosure of these documents to the public. They just wouldn't have. And, there's a lot of information. By the way, StreamYard has this new AI generating clips thing, and I had it do it this morning for Badlands Daily with Chris Paul. And it takes like an hour or two for it to put it all together. But when it's done, it generates some really good clips. And one of the clips I played was, this narrative that's going around from all the election fraud deniers, because that's a new category of people, and it needs to be a very criticized category of people that are saying, Fulton County, why are we going to look at the ballots? Fulton County did 3 counts and they all matched up. But that's not even close to true. That's not even close to true. In fact, it's quite the opposite. In Fulton County, Joe Rossi did the study on the hand count, which was done on November 16th.
Your clip from this morning is really good. You should play it.
I'll play it. Let me pull it up.
I just watched that right before the show, actually.
Yeah. So I really enjoy the way StreamYard is doing this AI clipping, because it kind of takes the legwork out of us having to go
Clay's
through.
going to yell at you now, because when I mentioned AI analyzing like the themes and number of shows and everything for your stuff from Georgia, he yelled at us about AI and not to use it because he has to correct it all the time because it's terrible.
Oh, I still agree with that. And even then, like I was arguing with Grok today, and it still was just not getting it. So, but here's
I don't usually argue with Grok. I argue with ChatGPT, and only when I can't find a human to argue with me, and I really want to argue.
Well, the problem with Grok is it's too much of a chicken shit. Like, it rolls over real quick, but it won't roll over on this. Like, it's still trying to say everything that I'm saying here is wrong, essentially. So let me play this clip. The hand count in Fulton County alone, just on the mail-in ballots, which was only 178,000, was off by 6,600 votes. They found 6,600 extra ballots in the hand count. Now, did they find them and say, "Hey guys, we found 6,600 extra ballots. We've got a problem here. We need to figure this out"? No, they took 6,600 batches of ballots, rescanned them 2 and 3 times in order to make the numbers match. And nobody is asking questions about this. Nobody is saying, "Hey, why did you do that? You were off by 4% just on the absentee ballots alone. Why did you guys deliberately take batches that had already been scanned and rescan them to make the numbers match?" And if you say it was a clerical error, it was human error, technical glitch, whatever the hell excuse they typically use, okay, what are the odds that you made these errors in a perfect way so that they matched the original machine count? That is not possible. You're not going to hit the perfect number to make the numbers match. That's deliberate. That's deliberate. Then you move to the second machine count. Okay, so it ends there. So yeah, the premise here is, and this has never been answered. This has never been answered. Fulton County quickly jumped into a consent decree and said it will never do it again. It happened. They say there were 36 inconsistencies. Yeah, but what they don't tell you is those 36 inconsistencies accounted for 6,600 ballots, or 4% of the vote that was analyzed, because there was, Joe Rossi only looked at the mail-in ballots, 178,000 of them. Nobody ever explained how the numbers added up when there were 6,600 double and triple counted batches. And that is something that is very important to know, because that is evidence of a crime. That is evidence of a cover-up, when the numbers match perfectly, and they only match perfectly because of those double and triple counted ballots. And so anybody that's out there saying that, oh, they did 3 counts in Fulton and they all added up, bullshit.
Are these this? And this might be, I might be thinking about 2024, but are these the same? Is it the same rescanning where we talked with Phil Davis about how they selected a few batches or a few ballots from the different batches and brought them together to make new batches of ballots?
Yes. Yes.
Because with Phil, we went through 2020 and 2024, and I can't remember if that was both or one of them.
2022. I think, didn't Phil have 2020, 2022, and then he was going through 2024 at the end?
No, we did 7 shows with Phil Davis this year.
I know, it's so much to unpack, and Phil's work on it was spectacular. I remember, I think that was Phil. I don't know. I don't want to say anything about his work without being 100% certain on it, so I'm not gonna comment on that. But I do know Joe Rossi's work, and I do know his report, because I've talked about that quite a bit over the last 4 or 5 years. And then the second part, the machine count number 2, which is the official count. That's the count that's the count that counts, the official count. That one is the only one that they still have the ballot images for, because they deleted all the ones from the first machine count. Not all of them, but I think it was most of the in-person votes were deleted. And so they don't have those records. And so you can't, reconcile the count from machine count 1 to machine count 2. The whole thing's a shit show. And I've said all along, the only way you can ever get to the bottom of it is by looking at the physical ballots. And it looks as though now, we're going to get access to the physical ballots. The question is going to be, have they been tampered with? Because you go back to the Maricopa County audit, and one of the things that people always forget about that is that the state Senate, the ballots were handed over to the state Senate, put in a truck, and driven around with no chain of custody for several hours while they were trying to figure out where to put these ballots. Right? Maricopa County gave them to the state Senate. State Senate was like, whoa, we didn't tell you guys we're taking these right now. And they said, well, tough shit, you're taking them. And the Senate's like, well, we don't have a place to put them right now. So for several hours, there was no chain of custody on these ballots. And that's, when they get to when they get to the what was the carnival grounds, the arena that they did it at, that's why you see boxes that were open. The tape was broken on them. Ballots were missing, all sorts of shenanigans with that. So,
yeah. That is what we saw, similar activities across the 5 states. What I was going to say is, if you're looking for a place to store ballots, chicken farms.
Yeah. Egg farms.
It's where, it's good. It's a good spot.
Egg farms, especially because, they burn down quite often.
It's all wood. Just whoops. We stored the ballots with the eggs. Now we don't have ballots or eggs.
And then if you're looking for a special master for your router investigation, your search of the routers used in Maricopa County, the best person for that is a former lobbyist for that very same egg farm.
Yeah.
That's the best person there. And by the way, everybody needs to sign an NDA. And also, you can only ask them certain questions about what they found, and they have to be pre-approved questions. Yeah, this whole thing's a shit show.
In the universe of the election cabal, the lobbyists are the most honorable people among us.
Always.
They're the people we should place all of our trust in.
The lobbyists and the representatives that benefit from the selections are the most trustworthy people.
And the vendors.
Yeah. Speaking of, just a little shameless plug and tease right here. Stephen Richer, former Maricopa County recorder, put this out. A little thing about those who are claiming widespread election fraud. Yet again, none of them have ever worked in election administration.
Not an election expert.
Anyone who is quickly knows this latest claim is silly, but many of them are political or social media fear rage entrepreneurs.
Explain to me how 315,000 illegitimate ballots makes sense when you work in election administration. So is that part of election administration? Is part of election administration, dealing with hundreds of thousands of illegitimate ballots?
I don't know. They miss. This is another thing I said to Chris Paul.
This is not a new tactic from the election cabal. By the way, they always say, "Well, you're just not Clay Parikh. You might know technology and also have tested the voting system. For the voting system testing labs, tested these products in a way that very few cybersecurity professionals have done." But you're not an expert in elections administrations, Clay, so you just don't understand.
Yet he was the only one smart enough when he was doing the investigation into Maricopa County for the Kerry Lake trial. He was the only one smart enough to pull out a ruler and say, these ballots are an inch shorter than the other ballots. How did this happen?
Yeah.
But it only happened in one precinct, remember? And then Clay found it in like 4 out of the 6 precincts. He'll correct me in the chat, but he found it.
And then
like,
didn't Stephen Richards' staff member lie about it on the stand, change his testimony the second day?
I know Scott Jarrett did.
Doesn't he work for?
I don't know if he works under Stephen Richer. He was the elections day operations. He ran election day operations.
Yeah. And Stephen Richards the clerk, right?
The recorder. Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to say whether or not.
Yeah.
Because Stephen Richer is going to be tentatively on the show next week to debate some posts that he put up on X or discuss.
Allegedly. I'm not getting excited about this, Brian. I have been burned before, and I am not going to be burned again.
You got burned?
Sure did.
Burned.
Sure did.
That's a very interesting pun intended.
Yeah, but the net effects of Patrick Byrne not showing up on our show is that a few days later he admitted he was CIA. So what are you going to do? Which is cool because I was going to ask him about whether or not he was, conducting a CIA operation with Tina Peters in Mason County. So I didn't really have to because now we can just kind of assume that he was.
Well, I mean, he's the good kind of CIA, right? He's
totally, of course. Any bad CIA is just a rogue lone wolf, lone operator guy because the CIA are totally super duper good guys.
The CIA is very good. They're very good. They only have a couple bad apples, and those are the guys that run all the drugs and start wars and overthrow governments and run coups. And that's only the bad guys.
Yeah.
All right, where do we want to go next?
Well, we have 40 minutes left.
Wait. I got to play this. This is so cool to see this. Our favorite election integrity.
Now I know you're not sick anymore because for like a week, that Brian that just got so excited was absent. He was missing, and it's because you were sick, and I was very sad when you were sick because you weren't yourself.
I am all better now. Thank you for the concern and the emotional support. I appreciate that. Eagle Ed Martin posted this. The truth will always have its way. And it was in response to this video from the Skiff. And this is an oldie but a goodie.
This is Susan Knox. I am in Cobb County, Jim Miller Park.
I remember this one.
Friday morning.
I remember this one.
November 20th. Here is a shredding and recycling right here outside where the ballots are. Oh my God. Jim Miller Park. Shredding and recycling. Susan Knox, November the 20th, Friday morning. I'm watching all of these ballots being shredded now. Unbelievable. Move up and let's see what else is going out. Yep, here we go. What are they shredding? Massive amounts of ballots right there
Just
going
some stuff.
out.
It's not important stuff. There's no evidence. It's ballots.
Susan Knox, November 20th. Jim Miller Park, there goes the shredding truck out the gate right there that I saw shredding ballots. And I called the police twice. No one came. They just shredded many garbage can full of
ballots. Okay. You know what that reminds me of?
But there is evidence it was ballots.
You remember? You know,
There's
that
no
reminds me-
evidence that those ballots were active ballots. Maybe they were just test ballots. Nobody knows what happened to the test ballots. Except, well, I can't say their names or I'll get sued for $1 billion or something.
That reminds me of the I think his name was Earl, and I don't want to say any more than that, but Earl, the Vietnam veteran in Maricopa County that went dumpster diving and found the trash bags of shredded ballots in Maricopa County, took them back and started taking them out, the shreds, and putting them together, and found out that, yeah, they were actually filled out ballots. They weren't the extra ballots that were being destroyed. And then, yeah, that was a whole shit show. I remember covering that pretty extensively back in 2021. And yeah, that poor man, Vietnam veteran, and he got drug for that.
Yeah, Maggravator says if those are test ballots, that's a lot of test ballots. Well, Bridget Thorne's testimony is that there were a lot of test ballots. There was a test ballot factory. And in that test ballot factory, they were just printing off all these ballots. They were testing them. And then afterwards, they're supposed to spoil them, but they weren't. And also, she found a couple of dudes printing off a whole bunch more of them, just Biden. And then they all disappeared. And, you know, there was this other event that has nothing to do with that event, totally other event, where pallets of ballots were pulled out, and it appears that they were scanned through machines multiple times after there was a water main break, which actually was a leaky toilet, but, you know, utmost precautions with our democracy. So send everybody out and then, you know, run those pallets about. Those are not the test ballots that went missing, though. There's no evidence to support that claim. Also, nobody looked.
Yep. Flying Storm says China ballots in Georgia boxes. Nope. They weren't China ballots in Georgia. There were a couple ballots that they showed the envelope from the Chinese shipping company, but you know, there's certain people out there that claim there were pallets of boxes of ballots, from China that were shipped to Fulton County.
Mm-hmm.
That is incorrect. They were from Runbeck, and they were from Fiddler and Fiddler in Orlando, Florida. And we have those receipts. I have the invoices for them.
And there was a test ballot factory where they were printing off test ballots that they didn't spoil and then went missing.
Yep. And
you
Bridget
know what the difference between a test ballot and a regular ballot is, Brian?
It should say test on it.
But it doesn't.
I know. There's
right.
nothing.
There is no difference. That's the point. There is no difference between a test ballot and a regular ballot. The difference is where you are in the process in time. If it's a ballot that's in a room with a bunch of people scanning ballots after the toilet leaks, so everybody has to go home, then it's a real ballot, no matter if it came from the test ballot factory or not.
Yep. Flying Storm said they were on the shelves. On the shelves said China. That's the Dominion boxes. That was Dominion's equipment that said made in China. And I think that was a combination of Patrick Byrne and Mark Cook that disclosed those those photos. I think both of them had different photos of that, the Dominion boxes with that on there. So President Trump said, I'm go ahead.
Well, so this is a question. There is almost certainly foreign interference in our elections, but it's not isolated foreign interference. It's not like, Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro and Venezuela are puppet masters calling the shots in our elections, or China is calling the shots in our elections. The only way this works is if those foreign nations are working with Americans, and really working with Americans in positions of trust with statutory authority. Therefore, it is not a foreign influence operation alone. It is treason committed by Americans, possibly to the benefit of foreign interests, possibly just because they were paid, right? Thing of value. Well, I'm going to be able to flee to China and live like a king or something. I don't know, but there is a concerted push in recent weeks to put our attention on all these other countries, right? Oh my God, it's Serbia, it's Venezuela, it's China, it's Iran, it's Russia. Oh my God, it's Russia again, Brian. No, it's Americans that need to be rolled up and prosecuted for treason. Deal with the foreigners later, man. The Americans are inside the gates. The Americans are the ones with statutory authority. The Americans are the ones in positions of trust that are violating their oaths every single day that this operation continues. Every single day there is not justice, they are continuing to violate their oaths. Focus on the Americans. Prosecute the Americans. Arrest the fucking Americans.
That's why I think we're getting very close, because of the concerted effort to distract from the American involvement in this and push this off as if it's some CIA, or some globalist or Venezuelan operation rather than a globalist CIA operation, which I'm fully on board, almost fully on board with the latter as opposed to the former. But I'm going to hand it over to Ash here in just a second, but I do want to highlight President Trump has just been going off on Truth Social with all of the election posts. Here's Senator Colton Moore reposting one of his tweets saying, I've been calling out the 2020 election from the beginning. Yes, he has, and so have we. And we've stuck with it. And then he's got a post there as well. He's got this one right here. So, AG Pam Bondi, you have the evidence from DNI Gabbard regarding the 2020 election. People demand accountability, and Barack Obama should be charged and prosecuted. Yes. Mind you, this isn't a request. What else we got? We got this one here. Ruby Freeman needs to be held accountable. She was caught on camera putting the same ballots through the machine several times in Fulton County. Then Biden gave her a citizen's medal. Democrats are corrupt. Yeah,
man, the way I remember that is she tried to come clean, and then got handled.
Oh yeah. I mean the
and that's a matter of record. There's a video record.
The interview we did with Harrison Floyd, kind of all but said that to me. The thing with the Ruby Freeman, and I put this, and I'm not isolating her. The State Farm Arena that night is that footage. We have emails between Charlene McGowan and Jan Johnson, Dr. Jan Johnson of the State Election Board in Georgia, where Charlene McGowan acknowledges that video, they still have it preserved in its entirety. It's been analyzed by the FBI, the GBI, and the Georgia Secretary of State's office, and they say nothing bad happened, that the videos are fine. So Dr. Johnson said, we'd like to review it. When can we come and look at it? And she said, that's not the way how this works. Yeah. So the Secretary of State's office is thwarting the entity in Georgia that is charged and tasked with transparency and oversight of elections, and telling them no. So I did an open records request after I read those emails and said, I would like to see that footage in its entirety, because the footage that I have the whole day up until I think it's like 11:15. It might be just after midnight. I can't remember. But right after they start scanning, when everybody left, right when they finally start scanning, the first batch they do, I've got that, and then it goes dark. And I want to see the whole thing. It's got to exist. It's got to exist. Charlene McGowan acknowledged that it exists. So in response to my open records request, they told me the file is too big. You will have to come here and visit. This was back in September. I think it was September of this year. They said, you'll have to come in person to view it. And I said, sure, tell me when. I will fly up there to watch this. They stopped responding to me. And then I saw, I think it was Laura Logan rehashed this on X, and I responded. I showed the emails that I was sending, and I sent him another one a couple days ago before Christmas saying, hey, just following up on this, I still want to come look at this video. Tell me when I can see it. Still haven't gotten a response. So it has to exist. Also, President Trump posted this, and I thought this was absolutely hilarious. Bill Mitchell, the Ron DeSantis simp, the aging lesbian himself.
Yeah.
Bill Mitchell.
What happened to him? I must have muted him or something.
I think this is a very old post, actually.
Okay.
And Trump, I think President Trump cut off the bottom. Alert, Fulton County's 2020 election mess is back in the spotlight. Maybe it's not old. Never mind. Can we ignore the video showing poll workers acting shady while 300,000 ballots got certified without signatures? This is a gut punch. The tapes got folks questioning everything. Again, the Department of Justice is now suing Fulton County over these very issues. Okay, so it's not old. And it's stirring up a storm. Here's the deal. Quote, 78% of respondents worry about unsigned ballots, screams a 2022 Journal of Election Science study, and it's hitting home hard. Step up and demand answers. What would you push for if you were fighting for fair votes? And then President Trump shares the handoff, the ginger mint handoff that didn't we just talk about this like a couple days
with Harrison.
With Harrison Floyd?
Yeah.
And
So
he
2 weeks
shares
ago.
that. Did you I haven't said this like to anybody. Me and Chris talked about it briefly this morning on Daily. Me and Chris played the Hunter Biden saying, I didn't realize how corrupt Ukraine was. I didn't know it was a den of vipers and all this stuff. I went back and I looked, I was scrolling through X, and Kirill Dmitriev, the special envoy for Putin, he posted that video at the same exact time that me and Chris Paul started talking about Hunter Biden in Ukraine this morning. The same minute he posted that video.
Well, you're on a delay when you're talking on StreamYard, though.
No.
Actually before you?
Not to the second, to the minute.
Okay.
And it was before. To be fair, he posted the Sean Ryan video before I played the Sean Ryan video, but I had already begun setting it up, Hunter Biden and Ukraine and the corruption and all of that, and he posted it at that same time with just a short little, even Hunter Biden knows or something like that. So thought that was interesting.
Kirill. Shout out to Russia.
Shout out to Russia. Come be an ally. Come be an ally.
I think they already are. It's got to be difficult for, I would think. So if you think about like us, right, relatively engaged and aware citizens of the United States of America, if we were Russians, like your regular, engaged, aware citizens of Russia, how do they not completely fucking hate us? Because no, I'm serious. If you go back to President Trump's first term and the narratives that went around about Russia that we now know were absolute bullshit, but were used to impose sanctions, to create all manner of hate towards their country and their people and their way of life. And, then, in 2022 with the invasion, then that whole thing, and there's never any apology, right? There's never a sorry, Russia, that we blamed you for Hillary Clinton's shenanigans, right? No, it just continues. There's still people that believe it. Still people that believe the bullshit Russian collusion story that was invented by the DNC and Perkins Coie in the Clinton campaign. And irreparable amounts of harm done to the Americans and American people. But think about that from like Russian standpoint. And I don't get the sense that they hate us, right? Like not from what we're allowed to see, not from the reporting of Russian media, not from, whatever we're allowed to engage with, both sides of it, right? I don't get the sense that they hate. I do get the sense they want the truth to be told, and they're a little punchy about it. But it's there shouldn't there be some sort of, catharsis about that for the Russians? Like, shouldn't there be some sort of resolution to that? I don't know. Maybe not.
So I don't want to turn this into a geopolitics show, but my opinion on this is that they're not subject to the same disgusting media that we have here in the United States. Hugely partisan
You
media.
don't think they know?
I don't
know that
think
they've been painted the way that they've been painted. I find that hard to believe.
Well, no, that I do. I mean, they're pretty strict about what American media makes its way into Russia, and I think that they probably don't know how bad it actually is here. But I think they still understand. I also think Putin understands. If going back to the Oliver Stone interviews that he did with Putin. Putin says, I don't listen to that shit. I mean, I know that all the politicians over there want to make us a bad guy, but they'll call me on the phone and we'll be best friends. They'll call me on the phone and we'll be civil, good people to each other. They understand. As far as the people, I just think they just don't give a shit. They really don't give a shit. They think most of our media is probably retarded. They are, in fact, retarded. And they just simply don't care. I mean, maybe they do hate us. Who knows? And maybe they're not as concerned because, all the shit that we're being force fed through propaganda media, mockingbird media outlets isn't actually happening. And I think I tend to align with Chris Paul on this one when he says, this whole Ukraine war, we're probably a year behind on what's actually happening. And what they're telling us and everything else. Maybe. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah. No, it's a fair point. I've known a few Russians, right? I had a neighbor that was Russian once, and I never got the sense that individually or collectively as a people that they, hate us. But if they were exposed to the narratives about them by us, I would think they would.
I don't know. I mean, have they seen Rocky 4? Because I mean, come on, right? Rocky kicks the shit out of Drago. He gets his ass whooped, and then he ends up eating his ass. If he dies, he dies. I was so close on the show today because I was saying that the Russia-Ukraine narrative reminds me of a cat that catches a mouse and it will play with the mouse. It will smack it around and it'll let the mouse run and then it'll pounce on it and then it'll dangle it and it'll pick it up and show it to its owner and everything else. And then it finally eats it. And I was like, just fucking eat it already. Right. Yeah. Just stop playing with your food. And I was going to say on the show, hey, somebody put out a post. Let us know you're listening and just post Drago saying, if he dies, he dies. But I didn't say it. I should have said it. Let's get back to
maybe Kirill will.
There you go.
Just to finish out this point, when it comes, so since 2020, and really since 2016, Russia has stolen our elections. China has manipulated our elections. Venezuela has manipulated our elections. Serbia has manipulated our elections. Freaking Canada, Dominion's Canadian company, so we can talk about The reality is that it was not these foreign nations on the ground engaging in the overt obstruction, the drawer 3 stuff in 2022, the stopping of counting in 5 states on election night. Those decisions were made by Americans. And the level of obstruction that has occurred in the halls of public trust to inquiry by the people was not foreign nations. That obstruction was done by Americans. The 2022 season of the election cabal and their Justice Department officials, whether that Justice Department is at the federal level or the state, and it was both, the offensive campaign against Trump supporters that happened, earlier on, but certainly hardcore in 2022 was not foreign nations. It was Americans. It was Americans in elected positions, often and always in positions of public trust with statutory authority. So anybody attempting to convince us that we have free and fair elections because we've dealt with China or we've dealt with Venezuela or we've dealt with Serbia or Russia or Toronto, anybody attempting to convince us that means we have free and fair elections now is part of the election cabal, I would reckon. And I think that they're probably invested in keeping the truth from coming out. And those people should be mocked openly to their faces because it wasn't, there most certainly were foreign components. the big bad enemy is globalists, guys. So there's always going to be foreign components, but the operation that has happened since 2020, and again, arguably since 2016, because we're talking about, Russiagate. Russiagate was a cover-up of election fraud, right? That and a massive portfolio of crime, cover-up of a massive portfolio of a crime that includes election fraud. That does not get solved without dealing with the Americans that were a part of it, without accountability for the Americans at all levels of government that violated their oath and engaged in treason. They're traitors. They're traitors to the nation, and that has to be dealt with. And we don't get out of this unless that specifically is dealt with.
Amen. Did you see President Trump's truth this afternoon, about an hour and a half before we went live? He writes, in response to his Christmas, he retruthed his Christmas post and says, now 1 million more pages on Epstein are found. DOJ is being forced to spend all of its time on this Democrat-inspired hoax. When do they say no more and work on election fraud, etc.? The Dems are the ones who worked with Epstein, not the Republicans. Release all of their names, embarrass them, and get back to helping our country. The radical left doesn't want people talking about Trump and Republican success. Only a long ago dead Jeffrey Epstein, just another witch hunt. But that's interesting that he points out that this is distracting the DOJ from election fraud. And I've heard
And it is.
I've heard through the grapevine that the election fraud component of DOJ is grossly understaffed and needs some assistance. All right, let's talk real quick. It is our last show of the year, and what's your favorite thing in elections that happened this year?
I'm gonna give a summary of our shows this year.
All right,
a summary of our shows this year. We had 47. We did 47. Estimate about 72 hours exclusively on elections. Is there another show out there that's done 72 hours exclusively on elections? I don't know, Brian. I don't think
Find me a show that's done 72 hours this year
in 12 months. Yeah, this year
on elections in 12 months.
Yeah, and that's not counting this show. So we're going to be at 73 and a half.
Yeah.
After this. But this is the last show of the year, so that'll be it.
Yep.
But also we could probably include our stolen elections with Ralph Pizzulo.
The last 3 episodes.
That's also exclusive. So we could maybe even get to 80. All right. So 47 shows, 72 hours. For some reason on our playlist, there's no episode 141. I have no idea why. So sorry about that. It was probably just a numbering variance, but it has not been that Phantom show has not been included. So just FYI, if you're looking for show 141, you're going to be looking a long time.
There might have been a show we took down. I don't think I've ever taken a show down, but yeah,
I've never taken a show down.
Yeah.
Okay. We had 29 guests this year, which means that 61.7% of our shows had guests. Pretty good.
That's very good
percentage, I think. The number one guest on the show, obviously,
Mad Liberals.
Yeah,
it's because we did like a 14-part series with him. 7 part. Okay, I like to exaggerate by double.
Yep. Okay. Dominant themes in order of how often they appear in our show.
Georgia.
Okay? It didn't break it down by state, but state level irregularities are the number one. So it's talking specifically about the election issues in states. That was our number one topic, right? Whether it was Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia, Colorado, we hit a lot of them. Arizona. Ballot handling, mail-in voting administration versus election irregularities at the state level across all of the different fake voters, fake ballot, fake count categories was our number one. Lawfare and prosecutions, RICO cases, FBI involvement, January 6th narratives, and enforcement was our second highest theme. Election technology, data and vulnerabilities, voting machines, PCAPs, centralized databases, AI/data models was third. Act Blue smurfing, election funding networks, ballot harvesting, NGO and USAID involvement was the fourth highest discussed topics. Executive authority, Trump election related actions, executive orders, emergency powers. And it says CISA and Krebs specifically. That was our fifth highest. And case specific arcs talking about the Lindell trial, the Tina Peters case, the Venezuelan whistleblower, Liberty Vote acquisition. That was, so we do sometimes do concentrated focus shows on the mechanisms of elections themselves. And that was number 6. So that's kind of the summary view of the year that we had on this show, which I'm pretty proud of our body of work, Brian.
I am very pleased. When I remember when I first, came on the show, Why We Vote, when we first started the show, I didn't know how I was going to do every week an hour and a half show on elections in the middle of an off election year. You know how hard this is to, kind of get these stories all together and all that. And, there's days when Ash and I get to a show and we're like, man, how are we going to carry this for an hour and a half? And sure enough, we can. It's usually just Ash over there because she's like Gordon Light.
Oh, wow. It's true. That's a little bit true, though. Gordon and I do a show together, and it is a struggle to do it in an hour and a half for sure.
And so it's been a lot of fun doing this. I think, we get a lot of good information out there to people. Looking forward to next week and having, kind of the quote unquote opposition on to have a civil discussion if they make it. And I think, I said this at Gart Vegas. I laid out my timeline on what I thought was going to happen. And I said that we're not going to see big movement on elections until early 2026. Yeah. And we are right there on the cusp of 2026. And I think I might have been off by a couple of weeks, but I do think we're going to see big things in January and February of 2026.
President Trump said as much, right? Didn't he say loads more is coming out? And that's very exciting.
Truckloads in the next couple of months.
Like we're getting close to the primaries, but we're still ages away from the general. So if we wanted to have reform by the midterm general election, there is time to do that. You'd have to have a pretty damn compelling case to make nationwide change that quickly. But there's a lot of, irons in the fire around that, right? There's Liberty Vote, which just acquired all of the Dominion assets and their technology and their machines. That's quite the asset to have if we're talking about restoring, and I'm not claiming that Leyendecker is a good guy. I have no idea. The only thing in his favor is that he's Republican, I think is like the number one.
He worked under Ed Martin and also,
right.
Also, according to Raheem Kassam, the White House was involved in the negotiations on this deal.
Yeah. Okay. So if we're going to restore free and fair elections, the fact that the White House advised on the deal that just bought the, most infamous election technology in the world is, a point in that favor. But we need to demand it. And I'm super proud of the American people because I feel very strongly that we were never supposed to still be talking about 2020 at this point. And, obviously President Trump gets the number, the most valuable player in that respect. He carried it. But there were times, Brian, like 2022, 2023, where it felt like he wasn't in office anymore. He didn't have the statutory authority anymore. He would mention the rigged election here and there, but it wasn't, like it is now. And the American people were carrying this forward. The American people are the ones that said, this is not going to end. We're not going to move on from this massive freaking crime. You will return the diamonds. And here we are. We're still here and we're still demanding it. And I'm incredibly proud of the American people, and particularly the election integrity. I'm in a group with election integrity people from all over the country, and I just that group of people, tireless, hardcore fighters that have been in this fight since 2020, November 20, a lot of them beforehand, right? Like people like Garland, who have been in the fight for ages, long before 2020. But there is a hardcore, dedicated group of people that within their states have been fighting for free and fair elections, who have been building the record, have been identifying where the issues are, where the vulnerabilities are, where the contracts are, where the legislative holes are, where the court cases that are happening are, and just shoulder to the wheel, have not let up. And I believe history is going to remember that tireless group of grassroots election integrity advocates as American heroes. They're certainly American heroes to me.
Yeah. And, we've done all this. I put a post out the other day, yesterday, I think, or maybe it was last night. I can't remember, but saying, this has been a 5-year battle that for me, for Ashe as well. We've never backed down from this battle. We've, been ridiculed. We've been banned. We've been censored. We've been deplatformed. We've been debanked, financially, just absolutely
Dude, federal court.
She's been in federal court. Yeah, I mean, it's just been
won, by the way, in case anyone's unaware. I won in federal court. I defended myself and won.
And, I just look, and this isn't the, the quote unquote sexy podcast topics, right? Election integrity is not like, it's not going to enrage people against, the mainstream talking points. It's not the next race war. It's not, race baiting or the, it's all the Democrats' fault. It's all the liberals' fault. We attack everybody here. We go after Act Blue. We go after Win Red. We go after Republicans. We go after Democrats. We go after them all. We don't have the mainstream in your face arguments that a lot of these other big podcasts have. And so, I understand the people that are here listening to us, our audience, you guys are the bona fides, man. You guys are the ones that understand what is really important in everything. And do you think it's been easy for us in the last 5 years?
You know what? One more thing, Brian, on that. Remember when Raheem went all in on Liberty Vote and then lost his shit when everybody was like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. Now, Raheem may be right? If Liberty Vote is a strategic acquisition to bring about election reform, regardless of what Leindecker says, because Leindecker said nothing's going to change, right? Told all the Colorado clerks anyway, don't prepare for major changes because there aren't going to be any major changes. So, if the super secret white hat plan thing is right about Liberty Vote, he might be right about that. But during that time, during that back and forth between the two of you, he kept saying, I'm the number one guy that's talked about election fraud. Nobody who's reported on election fraud like I have. And we went back and we looked at the record, and you know what, we read our themes, right? The major themes from the past year of what we have talked about. You know what you don't hear in there at all? And you won't hear it in our prior year or the year before that either. You don't hear, guys, you don't hear campaigns. You don't hear us ever focused on campaigns and candidates and winning fake elections. We are focused on this show on why we vote and how we vote and whether we should vote and does voting really matter and what's actually happening in this domain. You can get political commentary about campaigns and candidates all over the place. Sort of our position that doesn't really matter if the underlying system that we confer our consent in is fake. So that's where we focus our time.
Yeah, that's a great point. I don't know that we've had any candidates on, and if we do, they'll mention it in passing at the end, but we're talking about a fundamental election issue throughout the show, and they might in passing at the end be like, and that's why I'm running for Secretary of State to try and change this or whatever. So yeah,
I think we had some candidates on around election time, but they were candidates that specifically had like Leah Hoops, right? Or I don't know if Leah was a candidate, but there's Fincham. Yeah.
Fincham, we've had him on. I think we had Candace Taylor on. What's the guy in Virginia that was the Hillary Clinton whistleblower? What's his name? The guy with the glasses. Neil. I can't remember his name. He's the one that blew the whistle on Uranium One, and then he also blew the whistle on elections.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember his name. He's under my, I've got him on a list. But anyways,
Nate.
all right.
Is it Nate?
Nate. Yes, Nate.
Yeah.
Nate. There you go.
Yeah.
Let's jump into Rumble Rants here. Trumpet, good to see you as always. This kind of talk fires me up. It should. That's kind of the goal. Get fired up. Cherokee, is that like Elizabeth Warren? Cherokee? What are your thoughts on Trump's truth post of the video of Ruby and Shay in Georgia? Thanks. I don't think for the life of me that that's a ginger mint. Nate Kane, thank you. Anita Happens. Nate Kane.
That's
there you
right.
go. I don't think for a second that was a ginger mint, which is what they said. I just watched a show. I restreamed a show I did with Nick Moseder and Bahizzi on my channel. And we talked about this on that. And I said, maybe it's a junior mint, but definitely not a ginger mint. Who eats ginger mints? That's disgusting.
Well, right. But there was a part of one of those recorded discussions with Ruby where she's mentioning the USB drive.
Yep. I gotta have an attorney, and then I want to go live.
Yeah.
Huck Fillery, thank you all for your hard work. You are the leading edge of this sword, and I'm behind you. May God bless you and the USA in 2026. CannCon, you missed an Una Panuna Banca today in live. Sigh. I did miss it, but that's only because I didn't say.
You need a remedial.
No, I don't have it because we're in the Why We Vote. We're in the Why We Vote thing and not the Badlands Daily. Oh, I can switch just like that. But then we're on Badlands Daily. All right, so here you go.
Remedial Una.
I was explaining to somebody last night at Christmas dinner about how we've been so out in front of so many things at Badlands on all different topics, and one of the things I said was I was talking about Anna Paulina Luna mentioning the most favorite the Alliance of Sovereign Nations, and I was like, we've been talking about that for 3 years. Why couldn't you just call it that? And I mentioned to them, I said, we call her Una Panuna Banca from the Eddie Murphy Buckwheat Saturday Night Live skit. And the guy starts laughing. And I said, the funny thing is not too long after we started playing that clip, Greg Gutfeld on the 5 comes out and he's like, when I hear her name, I think of Una Panuna Banca.
No, he said Anna Paulina Luna.
That's right.
On their way out the door, which was just like, oh man. So Greg, what's up, Greg? We love you.
What's up, Greg?
Shout out to Greg Gutfeld who's watching the show.
Come on, we could come on the show. We could have a good time making.
He actually wrote a really good book called Uncool. I enjoyed it. I read it years ago.
DJ Kid, my sister, now passed, was quadriplegic. As her designated voter in 2020, the machine would not let her vote for Trump. Flipped to Biden. The only solution given was how to file a complaint. Criminals.
Wow, I wish we had that story.
Yeah, for sure. And also,
I'm so sorry about your sister.
Very sorry about that. God bless her, and God bless you guys.
So, yeah, I mean, her vote was stolen.
Yeah. And if she was, quadriplegic, she's probably voting on a BMD because they're for disabled people. So, Huck Fillery, would you rather see voter fraud reform or Epstein-related arrests with convictions? I shall hold my thoughts in anonymity.
Voter fraud.
Voter fraud, yeah.
And it's not because I don't, care about children. It's because if we don't have legitimate, verifiably accurate elections, we don't have a country. Nobody. It won't matter who runs the Justice Department. It won't matter which criminal and their portfolio of crime we're talking about. If we don't have legitimate, verifiably accurate elections, we do not have a country.
Amen. Myron 54, you guys work harder than anyone I can think of on exposing the fraud and recommending solutions. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. By the way, Ash said Colorado. Drink.
Okay.
Fact. I will say this. You might think we work harder, but that's only because you're the one watching us. The people that are doing a lot of the legwork on this, the people that Ash and I talk to every day, are busting their asses, and they don't get all the recognition that they should, and they deserve it. And hopefully one day, I mean, obviously you guys know a lot of the people that we work with and they get recognition, but there's people beyond them that don't want to be mentioned.
Yeah.
And those people bust their ass, and God bless those people. You know who you are.
Yeah. And we love you.
Yes, we absolutely love you, and we appreciate everything you're doing. And don't ever hesitate to reach out if you need help. We will absolutely keep you anonymous.
And that is, excuse me, that is, there are so many people that don't want to be known, don't want to be mentioned, don't want
they're
their
afraid.
names out there, and they're absolute heroes. And, you know, I hope they do get recognition one day.
Amen. ZBM, the enemies of America, living in America. Those are your greatest enemies who call themselves citizens, but are enemies of the cross and enemies of the nation, and they shall be dealt with. Kim Clements. Love it. Love it. Data 12. Well, Brian and Ash, you have been a point news that helps us keep up on the news. Ash went to trial. She won her own case, maybe would have gone to jail. It's not over 7 times to get it through. She wouldn't have gone to jail.
It was a civil case.
Yeah.
However, I mean, prior to there being a civil case, the State Department in Colorado was attempting to make a criminal case, and they weren't able to do that. And so then, poof, all of a sudden, there was a civil case. But yes, thank you for your kind words. Appreciate you.
BK Lepetsky. Thank you, Ash and CannCon. Your work is excellent and so important. Ash, you are a force of nature. So impressive.
Thank you.
She's a force of something. Data 12. Thanks, Brian and Ash. Keep looking, keep combing through the news. Always. Yeah. Always.
And there's so much election news. I mean, we're gonna. I think this next year is going to be amazing.
I do too.
And you know, I'm excited that we've got this show that is ready to carry all of the incredible, amazing news that comes about our elections in 2026. We're celebrating our 250th year as a nation, smack dab in the middle of next year. It's going to be epic. I'm pumped.
Hell yeah. All right, guys, stay tuned. I think Spellbreakers is coming up. It's probably already started by now, followed by Only Land. Stay tuned here at Badlands. I know tomorrow morning at around 11 a.m. Eastern, I will be doing my weekend review over at rumble.com/CannCon. Ash, what do you got coming up?
Well, you can check in with my daily history updates over on ashinamerica.substack.com. I put out a update every day for our 250th year as a nation. I'm almost at 6 months. I've been doing this without missing a day. Very proud of myself because I did not think it was possible. So we'll see if I can make it all 12 months, you know, place your bets. But then, of course, I'll be back Monday for Alphas Make Sandwiches at 3 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Mountain Time. And what's the other show I do on Mondays? Culture of Change with Abby at 9 p.m. Eastern.
I do want to mention real quick, Ash, you know, we'll play Soft Disclosure, but we gave Soft Disclosure to several people for Christmas, and they freaking loved it. Oh, absolutely loved it, including some Northerners who need the skincare, and some older folks who, you know, have drier skin. They absolutely loved it. So softdisclosure.com, promo code Badlands.
Absolutely. And, you know, when you buy products from Soft Disclosure, you are force multiplying your dollars to support 5 American businesses, to be more American businesses. The more we pull, you know, the supply chain together on this thing and make it's such an incredibly exciting company to be a part of, and just endeavor. And the products are amazing. Like the goat's milk lotion is solving psoriasis out there, not medical advice, but anecdotally, people are having their lifelong skin issues wiped away, specifically with the citrus one. The lemon grapefruit lotion has just the oil blend in there combined with the goat base. It's doing something for people's long-term skin issues. And the products last, like the deodorant will last you longer than 2 months. Everybody says 2 months. I think it's longer. So, you know, it's just an incredible thing to be a part of. And you are force multiplying your dollars. You are supporting America first, putting your money where your morals are. And, you know, turns out good stuff can come out of Colorado, Brian.
Kitsko had a last minute rant there. Merry Christmas, Ash and Brian. Thank you so much. And she also gifted 5 subs as well. So thank you for that as well.
For Christmas.
I have the and Data 12 said thanks, Brian and Ash. Keep. Oh no, we read that one. Okay. She's the one that gave me the Reefer Madness poster.
Yeah.
I gotta find a way to hang it up in the shop so you can actually see it, but
Yeah.
or in the shop, in the studio, so you can actually see it. All right, that is gonna end the show. Like I said, Spellbreaker's coming up, followed by Only Lands, and then we will see you guys on Monday. And God bless. Have a great weekend, guys.
They say confidence starts with a smooth skin. And baby, Soft Disclosure Lotion delivers.
I swear by this stuff. Like, I kid you guys not. This is the first lotion I've ever had in my entire life that, like, I don't get ashy after I put it on any part of my body. Like, my hands are always dry, and my hands have not gotten ashy without, like, rinsing them through water and washing them with soap since I started putting Soft Disclosure on. Like, it is Black Man approved. I kid you not.
Black Man approved. You heard him. And let's be real. If it can handle his hands, it can handle anything.
Feet are like, they get so dry, like the heels of them, it'll just kind of like flake off. Like, but with Soft Disclosure, once you put it on, like it starts to absorb it.
Yeah, he went there. Don't worry, we won't show you his feet, but trust us, they're smoother too. Soft Disclosure Lotion is made with aloe, goat's milk, honey, and our exclusive oil blend that actually restores your skin barrier. Visit softdisclosure.com, use code BADLANDS, and get 15% off.